So that was interesting. I've never had this happen before. About half an hour ago, I tried to go live and talk about a massive, massive issue that's facing the Pacific Islands, and Facebook did not let people come on and join it. It only got to about 80 people and then it just all dropped off, which I've never had before on any live ever. I've had it not start a few times, but I've never had that happen where it just dropped off completely ever. So I don't know what's going on. I don't know what Facebook's trying to do or why they're trying to cull people and stop people from watching what's really going on. But they're obviously trying to play with the amount of people that this message will get out to. And to be honest, at this point, I've just gotten so used to it that I'm going to roll with it. I'm going to put out this message anyway. And if they try and stop it again, please go and watch my Instagram, because on Instagram, I've managed to go live and I managed to do all the full details on Instagram. So if this feed drops out again, if Facebook tries to stop me from talking about this again, go onto my Instagram and see it there, because everything's up on there. So what I want to talk about is currently, someone wants to try and join. No, sorry. Currently over in Tokelau, there are multiple families being held against their will under house arrest. The government have held some of these families under house arrest for nearly a year. I thought this was a joke when I first heard it. I genuinely did. I genuinely thought it was a joke. And if you guys can hear me, please let me know, because I've never we've less than 60 people and I've never had that before in my life. So Facebook's obviously playing with the algorithms when it comes to lives. These people that are being held under house arrest have done nothing wrong. And I don't say that lightly, nothing wrong whatsoever. They just decided that they didn't want to take the jab. And so one of them in Nukununu, the local council, has recently sent them a letter and told them that they're trying to decide whether or not they're going to allow them to buy credit to make phone calls and to get internet, because they're upset that they've started speaking out and saying that they now want to be released. Isn't this absolutely insane? How on earth can they hold these families without their consent, against their will, when there is no COVID on the island? One of these families is a police sergeant. She's got a photo with Jacinda Ardern, which I'll pop up once this live is done. Now, what does this mean for these families? You've got two different atolls. You've got Atafu and Nukununu that have got families that are being held without consent and against their will. Now, Atafu, they've recently been let off house arrest. But what that actually means is they're still not allowed to go into public spaces. They're still not allowed to go to the shops. They're only allowed to go outside of their property to gather food. That still sounds like house arrest to me. Actually, I'm sure a lot of our prisoners get easier house arrest than that. On the other island in Nukununu, that's where the family are not even allowed to speak out. They're trying to silence them from having internet, from phone calls. Now, I recently did a TikTok video and I put out of one of the young girls talking about this. And after that, people tried to set her house on fire. They put fires around the house and they threw massive big rocks, like boulder rocks, at the property. This is dangerous for this family to keep being held under house arrest. But what can you do about it? One of the families in Atafu is a nurse. Her and her husband both got double jabbed and she got boosted. Now, she was pregnant when she got boosted and then she miscarried. Now, I'm not saying there's a correlation, but she was just worried enough that there might have been, that she decided not to get the second jab, not to give the second one to her children. And because of that, the whole family are under house arrest. This is not health measures. You don't stop people from using the internet for a health measure. You stop them from using the internet if you want to control them and if you want to dictate to them. So if you sitting at home are thinking the way that I do, where I think this is so deeply wrong and we're living in such a corrupt society, please, I need you to actually physically help this family. And how you can do it is by ringing your MP's office, by going down there and visiting them in person, writing letters, anything you can do to pressure our local MPs into helping this family. Because the majority of people that live in Tokelau are actually New Zealand citizens. It's not a sovereign nation. It's actually part of New Zealand. It falls under New Zealand law. They've got their own government, they want to be independent, but they're not yet. So by you pressuring your MPs, this family can become free. Now, we're using the hashtag free Tokelau. So if you share it, if you put up photos, if you talk about it, please use that hashtag just so we can show how many people are actually behind this family. If you can share this video or share the one, I think Daily Examiner have done some videos, some interviews with the families themselves. I've done some with the families. It's just really, really difficult to try and actually get interviews done because the internet connection is so bad that it cuts out all the time. So it's really, really hard to try and get hold of the families, although we have spoken. I've spoken with another lady called Say today. So she used to work in government in Tokelau. So we have a nurse, a police sergeant, and an ex-government official all being held under house arrest. If you can help, please do. Even if it's just a little thing, because this is a human rights abuse, this is completely wrong, and us as people, as human beings, should stand up to it. Last time I did a video, I had one of the government ministers, her family started messaging me and trying to pressure me to take the videos down, and then they called me a white supremacist. And you know the funny thing? I didn't even think about the colour of anyone's skin. I just thought we've got human beings that are under house arrest and that's wrong. The fact that they try and make it a race thing is only because that's how they can justify holding a family down without their consent. This is absolutely atrocious, and I really hope you guys help me to fight this. I'm going to be trying to get the interview together tonight to put up for you guys with the lovely Say, and then we'll go from there. I'm going to keep pressuring the government. I hope you guys keep pressuring the government. All we can do is try and create positive change for these lovely, hardworking people that are being held against their will. There's also a lot of children that are being held as well. So think about the social and mental impacts on these young children, some as young as 5 and even younger, that are not even allowed to go and play with their friends. Thank you guys. Thank you for being wonderful people who genuinely care about others. And let's see if we can try and work together to get this family freed.